This video is going to focus on Kohlberg's cognitive theory of gender development. And Kohlberg stated that as children get older, their understanding of gender starts to become more sophisticated. And it's a really nice essay to get because it's a stage theory. So there's 3 set stages you've got to discuss, and then the AO3 can evaluate each of those different stages. So we look at the specification. It says you've got to know about Kohlberg's cognitive theory, gender identity, gender stability, gender constancy. So again, these are the things you can get tested on in your exam. If we look at gender identity first, so this occurs between the ages of 2 and 3. And at this age, children can label their own and other people's gender based on external appearance. So people's clothes, people's hairstyle. But they don't understand that gender is fixed over time and situation. So for example, a boy playing with a doll is recognised as a girl, because that's what girls do. A few more examples. Everything is based on external appearance in this gender identity stage. So, girl because she has long hair. He's a boy because he plays football. But if a girl has short hair, they see that person as a boy. Or if a boy plays with dolls, he's thought of as a girl. Everything is based on external appearances. Okay? But remember, they don't know that their gender is stable over time. They don't know that gender is stable over situation. By those terms, I mean, they don't understand that a young boy will turn into a man. They think gender can change. So a young boy could become a mummy or a woman. And they don't know about the situation. So a girl playing with a doll is fine, but a girl plays with trucks, suddenly in that situation, that girl becomes a boy. So everything in this age is all about external appearances. The next stage in gender development, according to Kohlberg, is gender stability. And this occurs between the ages of 3 and 4. And at this stage, children understand that their own identity is fixed across time. So, I'm a little boy, I'm going to become a man, I'm going to become a daddy. They understand that it's fixed across time. But they don't understand that the same applies to other people. And they still rely heavily on external appearances. So they don't understand that other people's gender is fixed. So if their dad dresses up as a woman for a fancy dress, suddenly the boy sees that person, sees their dad as a female, as a mummy. So at this stage, children know that their own gender is the same over time and situation. They know that they are a boy, they'll always be a boy. Even if they play with girls' toys, they will always be a boy. Okay? They know boys grow into men. If I'm a boy and I play with a doll, I'm still a boy. But they don't understand the same with other people. Men can change into women if they play with dolls. Women can turn into men if they play with trucks. So they've got an understanding of their own gender, but they don't understand that other people's gender is also fixed. So if they look at these pictures here, if they see their daddy as a man normally, there he is on the left, dressed like a dad, he's my dad. But as soon as his dad dresses up maybe for a fancy dress as a woman, daddy now becomes a woman. They don't see gender as being fixed. Their own gender is stable, but not other people's. The final stage of Kohlberg's theory is called gender constancy. And this is occurring at the age of 6. And this is where children understand that their own gender and others' gender are fixed over time and over situation. Okay? Despite any changes in external appearance, gender is constant over time and situation for everyone. So for example, a female who has short hair and has a masculine job, maybe a plumber, is still female. They've got a boy's haircut, they've got a boy's job, but they understand that gender is constant, so they are still a female. So a few more examples just to clarify this gender constancy stage. They now understand that gender is constant over time and over situation. So a boy is still a boy even if they play with dolls. A girl is still a girl even if they have short hair. Children now have a deeper understanding and more sophisticated understanding of gender by the age of 6. And a female who still has a masculine job and dresses in a masculine way, like that picture, is still a female. So Kohlberg added to this theory, and especially as part of gender constancy. And he said that at this stage, children start to prefer same-sex playmates and doing gender stereotyped activities. So boys will want to go and play football because that's what they think boys do. And they also begin to seek out gender-appropriate role models and start to identify with them and imitate them. Like this picture on the right, where the boy is clearly copying his dad. He identifies with his dad, he sees the dad as a man, identifies with him, wants to imitate his behaviours. And they've really developed now a concept of gender at this stage. And they start to embark on a search for different evidence to confirm this concept. They want to find out what men do. They want to find out what other boys do. And they go out of their way to try and find what gender behaviours their gender does. So now we're going to have a look at the evaluation for Kohlberg's theory. And like a few of the other videos, I'm going to give you a little bit too much information here because there's different ways you can answer this 16 marker. You can either give a study to support each stage or contradict each stage of the theory, or you can add in different IDA points or other studies to support it. And again, when we come into planning this essay in a classroom, it's going to be up to you to pick the best 4 paragraphs that you want to include in your essays. So the first thing we're going to do is look at a study to support each stage of Kohlberg's theory. And the first one was conducted by Thompson, who found that 2-year-olds were 76% correct in identifying their own gender, whereas 3-year-olds were 90% correct in identifying their gender. So this shows that there is an increased ability of children to label themselves, as predicted by Kohlberg's theory. So again, this will go on to support his theory because it shows children have a sophisticated understanding the older they get. So a study to support the gender stability stage of this theory was conducted by Slabley and Frey. And they asked children questions like, when you grow up, will you be a mummy or a daddy? And what they found was that children did not recognise these things as being stable until they were the age of 3 and 4, just as Kohlberg predicted. And the final stage, the constancy stage, also has research support from Slabley and Frey. And what they did was they presented children with a split screen image of males and females performing the same task. And what they found was that younger children spent the same amount of time watching males and watching females. But as the child got older and got into the gender constancy stage, they found that children spent far longer looking at the model who was the same sex as them. So this supports the idea of Kohlberg that once children reach gender constancy, they seek out gender appropriate models. Okay, just like Kohlberg predicted, children will seek out their gender just as shown in this study by Slabley and Frey. There's also research support from cross-cultural studies conducted by Monroe. So he looked at countries like Kenya, Samoa, Nepal, and found that these sequences and these stages put forward by Kohlberg were universal. That around the world, children followed this sophisticated understanding of gender the older they got. But there are methodological issues with the evidence and with Kohlberg's initial theories. The theory itself was developed using interviews with children as young as 2 or 3. And what the problem with this is that these children, because they're so young, may lack the vocabulary to express their understanding. They may have very complex ideas about gender and about what different behaviours relate to different genders, but they don't possess the ability to articulate what they understand. And therefore their answers may not represent their true understanding of gender. So that's a major limitation of Kohlberg's theory, because it was solely developed using these interview techniques. Again, you can throw in that reductionist paragraph. It only focuses on cognitive processes. It ignores things such as the social learning theory, the idea of biology. And Kohlberg can't explain why boys show greater resistance to opposite sex activities than girls. And that's most likely to be social in origin. It's most likely to be down to parent treatment. So dads are far more likely to punish a boy for doing girls' activities than they are a girl doing boys' activities. So it is certainly a reductionist theory. You can also discuss alternative explanations. So the next theory we're going to look at in a lot of depth in the next video is the gender schema theory. And the gender schema theory says that children acquire information about gender long before gender constancy is achieved. In addition to this, Fabi and Frey found that gender constancy occurred in ages a lot younger than Kohlberg suggested. So it suggests that maybe the ages of Kohlberg's theory need adjustment. And that's a major issue with any stage theory in psychology. They're not very flexible. So some children might get to gender identity during 2 and 3. Others might take a bit longer. Others might take a bit shorter. But Kohlberg's theory doesn't allow for that degree of flexibility.